We had a recent engagement where we worked with one of the nation's top health insurance companies, and they needed to handle a second request because they were involved in a big acquisition. So the client had collected about 4 terabytes of data, which is an enormous amount of documents. It computes to about 24 million documents, and they needed to cull and review that whole collection to produce to the DOJ in time to complete their acquisition.
So the first challenge that we had was the data volume. The client had collected over 4 terabytes of data, most of which was email. We allocated one of our 1 terabyte per day dedicated processing tracks so that we could get through the data in just a few days and hand that data over to the internal team for review. We identified the review set by employing global deduplication, date filtering, and a robust set of key terms to defensively cut down the population by about 88%. And then from what was left over, we submitted that to our internal expert-driven H5 responsive review to be able to identify the responsive documents, as well as the subset of those documents that were identified as potentially privileged by H5. Ultimately, we walked away with about 5% of that 4 terabytes of data that was actually responsive. While that process was taking place, we'd actually already worked with the Department of Justice to reach an agreed-upon set of production specifications, and also submitted test productions so that by the time the second pass review was actually completed, we were ready to produce on time and under budget.
Our client was thrilled to find an alternative solution to what otherwise would have been a very slow manual review process, or what is often an under-supported predictive coding tools approach. And our experts were able to guide them through the entire process and ensure defensibility throughout. And the fact that we saved them money while meeting their obligations, that's just icing on the cake.